In the world of One Piece, teamwork and diplomacy are essential for any party's success. Aside from lone wolves like Dracule Mihawk the hero-villain, most major characters team up with like-minded allies for mutual survival and to cover each other's weaknesses. Some alliances were easy to predict, such as Luffy fighting alongside the Whitebeard Pirates at Marineford, but other alliances in One Piece came as a surprise for fans. Certain alliances and partnerships were totally unexpected, either because the characters involved are enemies, because they seemed to have no common interest, or they simply had no business with each other until the moment before they teamed up. It's not uncommon for some One Piece characters to set aside old rivalries or feuds to work together to pursue a common goal, and some seemingly unfriendly groups proved friendlier to Luffy's crew than expected. In one case, an unexpected alliance formed when a certain character seemingly returned from the dead. These alliances can be ranked according to how meaningful, impactful, or just plain awesome they turned out to be. Number 10. Admiral Aokiji, Kuzan ended up fighting for the Blackbeard Pirates. By now, it seems that former Admiral Aokiji, Kuzan has gone totally bad. For the most part, the divide between pirates and the Navy has been a rigid and clear one in One Piece, since admirals hated pirates as people who opposed the world order. After Aokiji and Akainu fought on Punk Hazard, the former quit the Navy, then did the unthinkable. Aokiji decided to cast his lot with the Blackbeard Pirates, though he resisted the idea at first. Now he's fighting in Captain Blackbeard's name, making him yet another deadly devil fruit user in that crew. This is a chilling development, though One Piece hasn't had much time to show the effects of this unexpected alliance, so it ranks last. Number 9. Big Mom and Kaido joined forces in Wano. One Piece fans were eventually introduced to the concept of the Four Emperors, or the most powerful and influential pirate captains in the New World. The four of them tended to clash and feud over territory and resources, and even Shanks and Whitebeard, two of the more honorable emperors, tended to clash as well. During the New World era, viewers got used to the Straw Hats facing emperors and the remaining warlords of the sea one by one, since One Piece tends to involve just one supervillain at a time. However, Big Mom was never actually defeated in the whole Cake Island saga, so she washed ashore at Wano and revealed to fans that she was actually rather friendly to Kaido after all. Number 8. Monkey D. Luffy and Trafalgar Law became friends in the New World. Trafalgar D. Water Law made his debut in the Archipelago story arc in the Summit War saga alongside some of the other supernovas. Law and Luffy weren't exactly mortal enemies, but they also didn't forge much of an alliance before Luffy and his crewmates were scattered across the sea by Bartholomew Kuma. Later on, when Luffy was cornered at the battle for Marineford, it was Trafalgar Law, of all people, who showed up to bail Luffy out of trouble. Against all odds, the two of them became close allies in the New World, more so than viewers might have ever expected. Looking back, though, perhaps it's only natural since they are both good-hearted bearers of the will of D. Number 7. The Straw Hat Pirates and Fire Tank Pirates faced Big Mom together. Based on his mobster persona, it seemed that Capone, wouldn't be an ally of the Straw Hats. He simply didn't feel like the kind of character who would support the noble shonen heroes, and for a time, he showed little interest in them. That changed in the whole Cake Island saga, when Bej's Fire Tank Pirates crew joined forces with the Straw Hats. Bej wasn't a warm and cuddly ally, but he was honest and practical, and that was the kind of ally Luffy's crew needed at the time. Thus, the Straw Hats embraced their new allies' mafia theme and fought by their side against Big Mom as that emperor chased them across the sea, desperate to get the wedding cake back. Number 6. Franky had a change of heart and joined the Straw Hats. It's easy for One Piece viewers to take Franny the Carpenter for granted as a loyal Straw Hat crewmate, but in the Water 7 saga, he didn't feel like crewmate material. He made an iffy first impression as a goofy yet brash carpenter with his own team in that Venice-inspired city, and he even clashed with the Straw Hat Pirates. The heroes weren't too keen on Franky at first, but when CP9 stepped in and Nico Robin was taken to Enies lobby, Franky and the Straw Hats formed an unexpected yet essential alliance. They set aside their differences to fight together on that government island, and then Franky went on to become the 7th Straw Hat and the crew's much-needed carpenter. Number 5. Sir Crocodile, Dracule Mihawk, and Buggy the Clown formed Cross Guild in recent episodes. The three-man alliance between Buggy the Clown, Dracule Mihawk, and Sir Crocodile ranks in the middle among the most unusual team-ups because those three characters didn't have much business with each other before then. Even if Crocodile and Mihawk were both warlords at one point, they had no common goals and had no business together. After the warlord system was dissolved, the two former warlords decided to unite for mutual protection, and the newly minted Emperor Buggy became the charismatic face of their new group, the Cross Guild. Buggy hated it there, being regularly mistreated and given no credit for anything. Number 4. Yamato helped Luffy fight his own father. The sprawling Wano saga saw the Straw Hats both befriend and fight a wide variety of characters, including traitors and high-ranking Beast Pirates members like King and Queen. Right before that saga's climax, Luffy was confident that he had gathered all the allies he'd ever get, including many of the scabbards, but there was still one surprise ally in store. During the battle for Onigashima Island, Kaido's own son Yamato stepped forth as Luffy's newest and most unexpected ally. Yamato idolized Kazuki Oden as a true role model and hero, to the point Yamato adopted a male identity to be more like that fallen hero. Yamato also had little to no familial love for his emperor father, so Yamato put his devil fruit powers to good use fighting by Luffy's side. Number 3. Luffy and Sir Crocodile escaped Impel Down together. The Summit War saga was full of surprises, including the return of a few familiar villains in Impel Down, the infamous undersea prison where Luffy hoped to find Ace. Unfortunately, Luffy was too late to rescue Ace, but he did make some key allies, including Jinbei, Emperor Ivankov, and even a few officers from the defunct Baroque Works group. Luffy was loath to team up with Sir Crocodile, the man responsible for nearly destroying Alabasta, but Luffy had little choice. Thus, Luffy allowed Crocodile to escape Impel Down with him as part of their improvised team, fighting back against Magellan and his various guards as Luffy's team ascended the prison's levels. Number 2. Luffy and Sabo reunited on Dressrosa. For a time, One Piece fans had every reason to think Sabo was dead, with Sabo being the third foster brother along with Luffy and Ace. Then, during the final battle for Dressrosa against Don Quixote da Flamingo, members of the Revolutionary Army showed up, Sabo chief among them. Luffy burst into tears at the sight of his brother, back from the dead. Sabo's return was the last thing Luffy expected, but he soon got over the shock and gladly allowed Sabo to fight for his side. In the end, the heroes were victorious, and Sabo and Luffy parted ways to resume their own adventures, with Sabo boasting the power of the flame fruit he had just eaten. Before moving on to number 1, please hit that subscribe button. As you can see, we are so close to 1,000 subscribers, so please, hit that subscribe button. And moving on to number 1. Number 1, Mr. 2. Bon Clay helped Luffy escape certain doom at Alabasta. The single best surprise alliance in One Piece is also one of the most emotionally resonant. When the Straw Hats raced to rescue Alubarna from Crocodile's plan, they faced off against a variety of Baroque Works agents, including Miss Doublefinger, Mr. 1, and the flamboyant Mr. 2, among others. Sanji defeated Mr. 2, Bon Clay, then offered a hand of friendship, which touched Mr. 2's heart. That proved to be one of the series' best redemptions, and Mr. 2 repaid the Straw Hats for their kindness and mercy when he risked his life to help the Straw Hats escape Alubarna's port during a Navy blockade. Luffy was overwhelmed by that grand gesture of friendship from his former enemy, and Mr. 2 did it again later when he mimicked Magellan to allow Luffy to escape Impel Down.